Hey everybody, it's me, Zach, and welcome back to my channel. Hey everybody, it's me, Zach. How y'all doing? I hope you're doing well. Today we have a special update because, so yesterday I uploaded my video about the public fight that Amberlynn had with her year-long friend Alexis that she met on the internet. I went over how, Alexis was wanting to come out about Tommy and all the ways that Tommy was not good for Amberlynn, and she and Amberlynn had this big old long fight on one of Amberlynn's live streams. Amberlynn deleted that live stream. A lot to catch up on in terms of all of that. So it might be helpful for you to go back and watch the past couple of videos. I hate to say that because they're like 2 hours long. Each of my videos individually the past week have been like hour-long videos, so I know it's a lot to catch up on. But yeah, basically the too long didn't watch of it all is that Amberlynn has this friend named Alexis. Alexis has a lot of concerns about Amberlynn's new relationship with Tommy Salami, the feeder, not feeder. Well, Amberlynn claims isn't a feeder. And now Alexis is basically going like scorched earth. She said, this friendship is over and I'm gonna come here and tell everybody everything there is to know about Amberlynn Reid. I've covered some stuff that she's posted on her TikTok recently, and there are some things that I didn't see before filming, editing, and posting the video that I posted yesterday. One of those things is that Alexis posted a TikTok that said, I wonder how a certain someone would feel if they knew that another certain someone sent me nudes last week when they were supposedly so happy and in love. I don't know who allegedly has nudes. I don't know if she's talking about Amberlynn sending her nudes. That feels weird. I don't know if she's talking about Tommy sending her nudes, because that also feels weird. So I don't know whose nudes we're talking about here. She also posted that she would be starting this new YouTube channel, which we're gonna react to a video from today, because somebody suggested that she shouldn't be spilling the tea for free. Now, the thing about that is that there's no way that her channel on YouTube is gonna be monetized yet. She has to have a certain number of subscribers, which she has met. Currently, as I'm talking and speaking, she has 1.59 thousand subscribers. But then you have to get like 4,000 hours worth of watch time, which maybe she'll get after this video is watched enough, but like this video is probably not gonna actually make her a lot of money, so I don't know how she plans to make money after this, but I do just want to say that as a thought, and I don't know if she has this goal of doing anything else with this channel afterwards. And I also don't necessarily mind that she wants to get her bag. I do think she's still a little bit attention seeking, and that's just the overall vibe I've had of Alexis before any of this drama went down. But how could I fault her for wanting to get her bag when like I also make money off of Amberlynn drama, So I'm not gonna fault her for that. But I do wonder how long, she's going to be able to make money from this, unless she's just gonna become like a full-on Amberlynn Reid reaction channel. I don't know what other content she could make that people might be interested in. It kind of feels similar to when Destiny came onto the internet last summer and started exposing Amberlynn and talking about her history with Amberlynn, and then after all of that tea was out, people kind of just like stopped listening to what Destiny was posting. Although she also kind of just stopped posting in general, but whenever Destiny was like posting vlogs and stuff like that, people weren't as interested. So anyways, she did a Q&A. I think she also asked for questions on her TikTok for things that people would want to know. And now she has a video up on her channel. It's called Amberlynn's Former Bestie Doing a Hectic Q&A. And it's only 21 minutes long, so I feel like that's a reasonable enough length that I could sit here and do like a proper reaction. I've been doing a lot of recaps of some very long live streams the past few days, past few videos, and now I'm like, let's just get back to my bread and butter. I don't know what this is. My bread and butter, and let's get to reacting.
Hey guys, it's Alexis.
Hi.
I just want want to start this off by saying I have never made a YouTube video in my life.
Okay,
so I don't really know how to make an intro, but I'm definitely going to work on it.
You know what? You're doing the best thing, the best piece of advice I always give to everybody who wants to start a new YouTube channel and ask me what to do, and I always just say, just get started. Just get started and you'll figure it out along the way. We're doing great. Love this news channel graphic situation type of deal you got going on here.
So I'm just going to immediately dive into the questions that some of you have asked.
Let's go.
So
Wait,
the first question...
Is it only this graphic the whole time? Oh, okay, no, she puts in some screenshots of questions and stuff. I was like, if I just have to sit here and stare at this news channel graphic. But no. You're doing great. You're doing exactly what you need to be. You're just getting started. You're figuring it out as you go. I love that for you.
Was Amber actually taking weight loss seriously for once? And did Emily possibly make her stop doing that?
Okay.
I do believe that Amber was trying to take weight loss seriously. But unfortunately, I do think it was because she was talking to Erica, and Erica takes her own weight loss and fitness journey very seriously. I also don't believe that Tommy ever specifically told Amberlynn to stop semaglutide. I just think that Amberlynn knows her preference, and if she doesn't have to put in the work, she won't.
Okay, here's the thing. I'm curious how much of this is going to be just Alexis's opinion and how much of this is going to be fact. Because I think it's fair to say that if we wanted, in the drama between Amberlynn and, Erica and Brittany, a lot of people were saying repeatedly, please come with receipts, please come with facts. We want to see the evidence. We don't want to hear this he said, she said stuff. And I think that's also what I would like to see from Alexis. I think that first question is just seems to be mostly just her opinions. I do think it's helpful to know what her opinions are, but I'm kind of curious if we're going to get any solid proof or evidence. I do value, to some extent, her opinion as a friend of Amberlynn's, but I also think you have to keep in mind that this is also a friend that feels hurt by Amberlynn, that feels betrayed by Amberlynn, and not to say that I don't think Alexis is telling the truth, but I also don't think Alexis would have came and said any of these things had Amberlynn just ended her relationship with Tommy, So, we wouldn't even be here if there weren't some kind of hurt feelings, and I think that is somewhat important to keep in mind. And so far, it's just, Alexis's opinion on those things. She just said, in my opinion, I think it's easier for her to just do what, she thinks Tommy's preference is.
Did Amber know about the stuff before Kiwi Farms found it?
Is there a reason why we're bleeping the word feeder? Anyways, go on.
She told me that Tommy preferred very, very large women.
Oh.
And she told me that her late fiance was close to 1,000 pounds.
Oh.
I don't know how much Amberlynn actually knew.
Well, but it sounds like she was onto something. And I also do appreciate that Alexis is not shying away from the fact that Tommy's a feeder. I know that's what Amberlynn wants to do, but it's very clear that I feel like we're all on the same page that that's what Tommy is up to.
About all of the posts that recently came up, nor do I think she would ever admit to me if she did know everything.
True.
Have you ever caught ALR out in a lie? I have caught her in many.
Name 'em.
So now it's hard for me to decipher what was actually true and what never was. Are you?
You're not gonna name a single lie? You're not gonna name that's not tea. We all know Amberlynn lies. I wanted to hear one of the things, one of the lies. I also just want to say that some of this feels like it's extending past what Alexis was originally upset with Amberlynn about, which is also why I'm a little bit just side-eyeing just a tiny bit, because Originally, when Alexis first started talking about posting about the end of her friendship with Amberlynn, right? It really just boiled down to she was upset that Amberlynn was going to stay in a relationship with Tommy. And now it very much seems like she's like, well, let me talk about other stuff. Like, why are we talking about Feline wifey Jade? You know, like, what's that got to do with you being upset about Tommy?
Still in touch with Jade? No, but I wish I was.
Oh, okay.
Amber claims Jade's toxic and blank behavior if she kept hooking up with Jade after the breakup. So I'm not gonna lie, I have also done this before. And I'm
Not also Alexis telling on herself. Literally nobody needed you to come forward about your own situation. I also just want to say, I continue to feel like the stuff between Wifey and Amberlynn, like, unless one of them talks about it, since there's been a lot of accusations about that being an abusive relationship and various abuse happening in that relationship, like, I really truly feel like that is not Alexis's place to be talking about it. I don't feel like that is Erica's place to be talking about it, both of the people who have come out and talked about it. And so I just, like, I don't know. It feels weird that they would be coming out with that as, like, tea. Especially Alexis, who was at one point Amberlynn's friend and is only coming out with this stuff now that she's not friends with Amberlynn. I'm not saying that that's not, like, an important thing to know about their relationship. I just don't think it's any of these people's business to be talking about.
not saying that to try and justify her behavior, but I genuinely think that sometimes after a breakup, you're just so shocked. And sometimes you try to hold on to what is left of that person. Did it hurt that Amber dismissed her BPD during her live? Were we even supposed to know that? When she gets like this was pretty cruel. We're supposed to care about her BPD, but only hers.
Yeah, a lot of people pointed out that, like, she was so, like, rude and only prioritized her own BPD. And even at one point, Alexis was like, okay, well, I have it too, so, like, please be serious right now. And it's just like, Amberlynn only wants to bring it up when it's a benefit to her.
I don't really care. It's not, like, a secret that I also struggle with my mental health. But unlike Amber, I have actually taken the time to be alone and, like, work on myself.
Okay, love to hear that.
And I actually have gone to therapy, like,
love
with
to hear
a
that.
real licensed therapist. And not just Chat AI and WebMD.
Wait. Is Alexis suggesting that Amberlynn used, like, ChatGPT and Google AI or whatever for therapy? Because that is, like, you got evidence of that? You got proof of that? That sounds exactly like the Amberlynn Reed we all know. It sounds exactly like what she would do instead of just actually, you know, investing in something that could actually be helpful to her.
She support her friends financially. Example, does she send Eric and Ricky money? Did she pay for Emily plane ticket, rental car, etc. when she visited Oklahoma City? Do I think it's possible that she paid for, like, Emily's plane ticket? Sure. Do I think she's financially supporting her friends? Absolutely not. There was a period of time where I was quite literally working 3 jobs. And still barely making ends meet. And, like, I didn't talk about it very often because I didn't want her to feel like I was asking for anything. But she, like, never, ever offered, not even one time.
Honestly, that's probably for the best. That's probably, like, a good boundary for Amberlynn to not offer anything like that. Just so we're clear, because Amberlynn, I think, has made a lot of mistakes in the past of giving, like, Destiny and Dana money. giving people in her life money, and I think she's gotten burned by that before. I also, though, wouldn't be surprised if she just wasn't sending Alexis money. Like, I do fully believe she could have also fully paid for Eric and Ricky's trip to come visit her in Oklahoma City just because she wanted to see them in real life or something like that. So, yeah. I am also still kind of, again, curious. Like, it's just, I guess, maybe very clear to me that Alexis has no intentions of returning to this friendship because she's talking about stuff that's outside of Tommy, outside of the scope of Tommy and how Tommy is bad for Amberlynn. If she's out here talking about her friendships and things like that.
Does she have any friends in Oklahoma City? Why doesn't she try to find girlfriends in her own state ever? Why does she always look for love on TikTok? Yes, she does, and he seems actually very nice.
Oh, that must be the twink that went to Oklahoma City Pride with her that we could see in like a clip, but like obviously not really see him. So, okay, work. I'm glad she has one friend in Oklahoma City. Because mind you, Alexis isn't saying she has lots of friends. She said, oh yeah, she actually does have one, and he seems nice. Just the one.
But was he a viewer before they met? Yes.
Oh!
I also have never talked to him, and I'm not really sure what his true intentions were messaging her. But
that is also then still crazy. I mean, I guess it's an improvement because he actually lives in the same city as her. But that is why can't you find somebody not connected to your YouTube channel? I promise you, it is such a free feeling to have friends that have no idea what I do on the internet. Well, they know that I'm a YouTuber, but they are not invested in anything that I do on the internet, and that is just wonderful because you get a chance to log off. You get a chance to like literally go do something else. It would be the same idea as if like Scott from accounting only befriended people that he knew because he was an accountant at whatever stupid corporation that he worked for, you know? That would be a wild way to live life. That's not to say that you can't have some friends from your accounting department, but like most people don't only have friends because of the job they do. That's silly. That's funny.
He does get to hang out with Amberlynn's mom, and I'm kind of jealous of that.
Love Mama Lynn.
But he is also probably, like me, in regards to being on the back burner now that she's back with Tommy.
Nice.
Has she been trolled by other people like Erica thinking they were dating?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah. Her main one was Danielle. I mean, she was...
Gag! Tell me more about Danielle. I mean, at this point, I'm done. It's clear that she's just doing everything, so whatever. Tell me everything. I'm all ears. Tell me about Danielle.
In love with this girl. And I can actually understand why, because she's incredibly attractive.
Okay, work.
This girl also said a lot of the right things that made Amberlynn kind of hooked. And she would do the inconsistent reassurance with her and be like totally in love with her one day and then like really all about her pre-existing partner the next day.
So Danielle's partner was married. Danielle, or at the very least, did have a partner. But also, it sounds like Danielle was a troll. So let's fucking go. All right. This is what I've been saying for so long. Like I was thinking back to when Amberlynn started dating wifey/Feline/Jade. And so many people were like, how do you know this person isn't a troll on the internet? Because I think a lot of us were just like, at this point, with how big she is on the internet, like, there have got to be people in her DMs trolling her. And I think a lot of us were like, surely there's got to be somebody in there faking it. Like, it just seemed like it was a possibility. And I think she just happened to get lucky that wifey wasn't a complete troll. And it's crazy that post-wifey, it's happened, it sounds like at least twice, if you believe what Alexis is saying.
Danielle has been with her current partner for, from my understanding, a decade.
Damn.
At least.
Damn.
But they are not married.
Did Amberlynn know?
This was when I started to realize that Amberlynn does not care if someone's in a pre-existing relationship already. If she likes you and she thinks you're attractive and you say the right combination of words, she's going. Amberlynn also apparently gave this girl money.
Imagine standing by this as your friend, though. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe once I'd be like, wow, friend, you're making some real poor choices. And maybe that's why Alexis has finally reached this point of like, it happened with Danielle, it was happening with Erica, and now you're making this choice about Tommy. Like, 3 strikes and you're out. I will say, though, she's getting ready to talk. She just said that she feels like Amberlynn did send money to Danielle. And she also mentioned earlier that she feels like it's really possible that Amberlynn probably, like, paid for Tommy's trip to Oklahoma City. And I don't wonder if part of this is also, like, Alexis is upset that, you know, she wasn't financially taken care of by Amberlynn. I think it's a fair question. And, you know, I guess she's getting it now, though. If she can, like, actually make some money off of sharing this tea, I guess maybe she's gonna get hers now.
Literally in the same time frame that I was struggling. She also really loved to compare her online relationship with this girl to my in-person relationship with my girlfriend at the time. I really, really loved that a lot.
That really reminds me, I literally just told a story in a video regarding Amberlynn, like, rushing things, and I told a story about a friend of mine who was rushing things in an online long-distance relationship, and I said, slow down, crazy, and she, like, ended our friendship over it. And that whole situation, she had the nerve to compare her moving in with her partner at the time to Noel moving in with me that year at the time. Noel moved in with me during the pandemic because we were already planning on moving together. And he and his roommates were literally like the only people I ever interacted with through the lockdown. And so, like, it was just natural that, like, he would just move in with me and then we could even be safer about who we were interacting with and things like that. So it was already a part of the plan anyways. And then it just made sense that he did come and join me in my apartment. And she had the nerve to say, like, well, I'm moving in with my partner just like your partner of, I think, 3 years at the time is moving in with you. I was like, girl, we are not the same. Like, I've met him in real life. I've been dating him for 3 years. Like, please be fucking serious. Anyways.
She has never met Danielle or Abby in real life, or Erica.
True.
Also, Abby was 20 years old when Amberlynn started talking to her.
Damn!
And then lied about it to me. And then backtracked and then told me the truth again.
I mean, that's great. It's fine. 20 is like... 20 is a consenting adult, so that's fine. I follow a lot of people on the internet who are in age gap relationships. And honestly, 20 is probably closer to, like, the maturity level that Amberlynn's at, so maybe that worked for them.
A 14-year age gap is, I'm sorry I have to, but hectic. I also want to say that Amberlynn never had intentions of actually being with Erica. Oh. But when the relationship with Danielle and then the relationship with Abby didn't work out, she kind of just settled.
That does track with what Erica was saying, just to be clear.
Would always tell me how this Erica girl really likes her and really wants to be with her. But she just didn't look at her like that. Even though she was juggling all 3 of them at the same time at one point.
Okay.
Is there any part of you that feels bad for betraying Amberlynn's trust? Like, when you think back on all the talks you two had when everything was good, did you ever think you would betray her? Honestly, yeah. I do feel bad, and I do miss her a lot. And even though she kind of brushed me off sometimes, or just wanted to talk about herself, or whatever, I definitely do miss her, and I probably always will.
The things you said, see, this is the disconnect for me, though, because you have explained to me and to everybody watching this video right now that, like, Amberlynn's not a great person. And I feel like I get it when you're in the relationship with her. I totally see, like, where you might be like, yeah, like, I like all these things about her. But it's clear to me now that you're able to say, like, here are some fucked up things she did. And you're like, oh, but I miss it. But I do miss her. I'm sure there are things about her that you miss. But I hope with some time you'll be like, no, that was not a great relationship for me to be in, a good friendship.
Did I think I was ever going to betray her? Hell no. I literally thought it was, like, the coolest thing in the world that I was her friend. And
dream bigger. Alexis, I need you. I desperately need you to dream bigger.
I felt special because I feel like I got to see a side of her that nobody else gets to see, but now I'm starting to realize that it was probably all fake. Is she secretly friends with Zachary Michael?
Not this. Not this. He seems to be protecting her a little too much these days. I'm curious exactly what that looks like for people. I have seen people comment that. I don't necessarily understand where it comes from. I think the thing is that there are a lot of people who only see, like, the worst absolute things about Amberlynn, and let me not pretend. There are a lot of terrible things about Amberlynn, I think a lot of which have come out in just this past week. But I think, like, people perceive me saying anything kind or empathetic towards her as protecting her, and I'm not trying to protect anybody. I literally come on here every day to just be myself and give my honest, genuine reaction. And sometimes that means I feel empathy towards what she's going through. That doesn't mean that I think she's a great person. That doesn't mean that I think that she's always made great choices. But sometimes, like, she'll talk about something and I'll be like, yeah, I could understand where you're coming from. I have the ability to see the humanity in you, even though, like, you're not great. But here we are. There's also people who think I'm too mean to her, if you could believe it. I know that this person probably doesn't believe that, but I get comments on the other end of that spectrum too, all the time. So it's an interesting thing that I try not to think about too much, because I'd really rather just focus on being myself and giving you my honest opinion. And so if I think too much about if people are going to be worried that I'm too nice or too mean to her, I feel like that would then make my reaction disingenuous, if that makes sense to you. But this is a funny question, and no, I mean, like, I'm curious to see what Alexis says, but no, we're not secretly friends. So yeah, I don't know, I'm curious to see what Alexis says.
He seems to be protecting her a little too much these days. Honestly, I think that he's just really good at seeing things for what they are, and Amberlynn is not always delusional or in the wrong, but most of the time, yeah. I'd like to know what your partner...
That wasn't even an answer. I'm curious if Alexis also watches my channel, just to be honest with you.
...thinks of Amber and your friendship with her. First off, I just want to, like, give a public service announcement that my partner goes by they, them pronouns.
Work.
So if anybody mentions them in any videos, I would pretty much expect you to use their proper pronouns. When I first told them about the fact that I was friends with Amberlynn, they didn't really know much about her. And then I started bringing them on FaceTime calls, and they actually got along really well until Amberlynn started sending nudes and showing me her conversations with Erica and all of the nudes that they exchanged.
Wait, why would Amberlynn be sending Alexis the nudes and things that she was exchanging with Erica? Why would you do that? Why are you doing that? That's crazy. Why would would you accept those? Why would you not say, like, stop sending these to me? She's your friend. I don't need to see nudes of my friends. I don't need to see nudes of my friends' partners. What? Crazy. Were those solicited or unsolicited? Why were you? I need more from you, Alexis. Why were you getting nudes from Amberlynn Reed?
And when I was with my ex-girlfriend, Amberlynn would make public Facebook comments calling me daddy in them.
Oh, yep.
Like, knowing full well I had a girlfriend, but...
Those were things that I was fully ignoring of Alexis back in the day. Those are screenshots that people would send me. And I'm like, y'all, I'm ignoring this. Y'all, I'm ignoring Alexis.
Since Danielle wasn't committing to her completely, she didn't care. Did you notice ALR adopting your personality and mannerisms when you became friends? Yes. Half of her isms right now are literally mine.
Oh, like what?
Except I don't know where she got this, like, hectic word from, so don't come for me for that. Because I didn't do that. But, like, the randomly busting out in a country accent thing that she's been doing, that is me. I personally don't believe...
Why would you do that to us? Why would you do that to us, Alexis?
Believe that Emily is responsible for the hectic situation type deal. Because Emily's personality is comparable to a loaf of white bread.
Not the loaf of white bread. That's taking me back to when, do y'all remember when Chantal called me prison bread? She said that I had the personality of prison bread. Do y'all remember that? I really might be Tommy Salami if we both have the same personality. I don't want to be Tommy Salami, y'all. I don't want to look like Tommy Salami. I don't want to have a similar personality as Tommy Salami. I'm certainly not a motherfucking feeder. So, like, we need to squash this.
Is Amber a to her girlfriends? I've said this before, and I'll say this again, but it takes two to tango. But I know if I ever dated Amberlynn, I think I definitely would be taking a really long grippy sock vacation afterwards.
I don't understand why we're laughing about this as a concept. And again, I don't really think it's Alexis's place. I mean, she keeps alluding to it being it takes two to tango. And also, if she's suggesting that Amberlynn is a part of, like, the abuse in these relationships, like, that's the girl that's your friend. That's the girl that you say that you're kind of sad about no longer being friends with. That's the girl that you stood by for the past year and only stopped being friends with because you didn't like her relationship with Tommy Salami. Just so that we're on the same page here.
Her looks are absolutely not the reason that I wouldn't date her. It's everything else. Has she ever told you why she lies on YouTube all the time? Probably because, liars lie. Amber said
She said liar's gonna lie. She said if it looks like a lie and it talks like a lie, it's probably a lie.
Tomby, what the hell? I'm actually gonna leave that in there because I laughed. Amber said Tommy has a great job. If that's true, why did she and her ex have to do blank blank for money? Did Tommy and her ex ever live together? I'm really not a super huge fan of discussing the deceased.
Sure.
But I literally don't know. Also, Tommy's job
Girl, you could have just said I don't know then. You didn't have to add all the other stuff.
Like, not this big spectacular ordeal. But I'm not going to speak on it because Tommy is a mother, and
That is also a piece that seems to be missing from a lot of this. Like, I'm fascinated that it didn't get brought up in any of Amberlynn's live streams, or maybe people were saying it in the chat and she just ignored it. I don't know. I can't remember. I sat through like 9 hours of live streams this weekend. But I do remember people speculating or talking about Tommy potentially being a mom, and I guess we got some confirmation now from Alexis.
don't want her to lose her job because I care about the well-being of her child. And I would never go out of my way to put a child's well-being in jeopardy.
Sure.
Otherwise, I would probably tell you guys whatever. What was the absolutely vile thing that Emily said to Amber? Do you think she encouraged her late partner's when she told Amberlynn that she would rather not to be on this earth anymore.
Yeah, that's what I suspected.
She could be with her late fiance. Also, from my understanding, her late fiance passed away due to getting pneumonia. And I'm not gonna lie, that kind of makes me nervous because if Amberlynn doesn't get the help that she has always needed, I do fear that something as small, well, not small, but, something like pneumonia could also be the reason for her passing away. Erica claims Amber made jokes about being the other woman. Did she do the same with you? How did she justify being with a married woman? Yeah, she thought it was the funniest thing in the world. She also, for the longest time, said that Erica was only with her wife for financial reasons, and they don't live together, and her wife has another partner that she lives with.
Well, yeah, that's also confirmed that's like, Erica said herself, that's what she told Amberlynn, so it makes sense that that's what Amberlynn would have thought, but it's also unsurprising to me that Amberlynn thought it was funny and didn't have a problem with it. It's clear she didn't have a problem with it.
And essentially it's just like an open marriage concept. And then one day she sent me a picture of a
slipper
toy on Erica's dresser. And apparently she took a screenshot of it, like while they were on FaceTime, and confronted Erica about it, and Erica, I guess lied about it at first, but then she was like, oh, well, of course, that's my wife, of course we have.
Wait, that has nothing to do with the slipper. That's a different story than the slipper story. Is it not? Is that not very different than the slipper story? Or maybe they both happened?
Amber was really upset. Also, Erica, I don't really care if you come for me, but you were 100% in love with Amberlynn. I literally saw all of your text messages, everything. Every nude you guys sent back and forth.
That is so weird to me. Why were you seeing the nudes that were sent back and forth between Erica and Amberlynn? That is, y'all need to question your friendship. Y'all need to reevaluate that, because that is weird to me. That's weirdly, for sure.
Quite literally every exchange you have ever had. And you cannot tell me or anybody else for 1 second that you did not have genuine feelings for her.
Sure, I believe it.
Why did Amber reveal Emily so fast? Is she secretly fat-phobic and thought Emily was hot and therefore worthy of sharing her with us so soon?
This Smells Like Cheap Perfume has a lot of questions. They have a lot of questions. Almost all of these have been from old Smells Like Cheap Perfume. Okay, girl.
Tommy is a very insecure person and could not handle when Amberlynn would get other messages or comments that were flattering. And Amber's going to refute this and say this is not true.
Love that Alexis already knows what the arguments are going to be about. Let's go.
So Emily encouraged her to post her. She wanted other people to know that there was someone in Amberlynn's life and she's not available. Also, Emily is not skinny, and in my opinion, she is not attractive.
That's so out of pocket for the, literally that was not even a part of the question. Was it? What did the person say that would... Oh, I guess the person was trying to say that, Emily's hot, Emily's attractive. So I guess it's not entirely out of pocket. But it feels out of pocket for Alexis to be like, yeah, I think she's fugly. Actually, didn't she say that in a text message to Amberlynn about Erica, too? Alexis is so quick to call other people ugly. I guess she's not saying she's ugly, just that she's not attractive to her. But also, I think, anyways, besides all of that, I think it's important that she says that, or like, again, this is also, most of this is all just like hearsay from Alexis, so again, just keep that in mind. Like, it's not like she's showing screenshots of texts or things like that as proof, but I do think it would change things up a bit if Emily was the one that wanted to like get herself out there on Amberlynn'S channel, because then it's like, girl, you knew what you were getting into. You knew that you had this whole history on the internet and you were like asking Amberlynn to put you out like that. All right, girly pop.
Is Eric and Ricky actually still hanging out with Amber even after what Amber has put Beck through? Does Beck know? I truthfully have no idea, but I would assume not, because Eric messaged me on TikTok literally last night.
Oh!
Not asking for...
What did that message say? What did that message say?
Personal info on Jade, but
smells
was
like
she
perfume
just as messed
again.
up as Amber mentally? She seemed to be more mature, but it's sounding like she was struggling too. All I have to say to that is, I think anybody on this planet would struggle if they were Amberlynn's long-term live-in partner. Has Emily's daughter met Amber yet? No, but they FaceTime. Does Amber still talk about Destiny or any of her exes, despite claiming she'll never badmouth her exes? Yeah.
This Bones person asked a lot of questions, too. They asked a lot. They've been in here a lot. Them and the perfume lady or person have talked a lot, asked a lot of questions.
All of them. Did Wifey really ask for no contact? Yeah, she did. And Amberlynn has tried to reach out a couple times since.
That's wild.
She hasn't ever responded, and I'm assuming probably wants nothing to do with her.
That's probably for the best.
Jade, if you are somehow hearing this or watching this video, I just want to say that I really hope that you are doing well and that you have healed from this. Even, like, just a little bit. Has she tried to manipulate you into silence since the live stream? No, she's scared of me because I have too much tea on her, and, her and Emily actually can both, kiss my ass.
Oh, gosh.
Was she rejected for weight loss surgery? That whole arc and ending didn't add up. Yes, because she couldn't stop binging. Did Amber give you...
That is... I mean, this is the thing. Like, I do think it's fair if people are like, okay, girl, you're saying a lot, but where are the receipts? And, like, I'm sure a lot of this, it sounds like they spent a lot of time FaceTiming, a lot of time on the phone, things like that. So a lot of it was probably not via text message. So it's probably hard to provide some receipts on this. And you just have to, like, trust her to some extent that she's telling the truth. And I think if it comes to, like, do you believe Amberlynn or do you believe this, like, stranger that we all just met on the internet but has been friends with Amberlynn for a year? Like, you have to make that decision. But a lot of this stuff is also just, like, her confirming things that a lot of people on the internet already thought anyways. So, yeah, here we are.
Any support after Girl World attacked you for being her friend? Did she take your calls at 3 a.m. and comfort you, or was it all one-sided? No, she didn't care. At all. Is she a chronic liar? Is 1 + 1 2? Is the grass green? Do dogs bark? Before all the evidence came out about Tommy, what made you think Tommy was...
Not fertilizing. I think they meant fetishizing. But fertilizing is a crazy autocorrect mistake.
Fertilizing Amber. I'm assuming the word that you're looking for is fetishizing. And the difference, in my eyes, between a preference and a is the intensity at which you experience said preference.
Okay.
Is ALR the same as she appears?
Wait, that didn't answer the question, though. You didn't answer what made you think that Tommy was fetishizing her. Whatever. Whatever. It's fine.
Line. More or less insufferable, depending on the day. Who has been your least favorite Amberlynn reading partner? The current one. I mean, Erica was bad, but... I don't know. Maybe it's a horse apiece.
The heavy sigh just took me out for some reason.
Or maybe a cohorse? Have you privately called her out on lies before, and did you ever doubt your friendship with her before now? Yes and yes. What was the vile comment Tommy told to Amberlynn?
You already answered
Also, did you have a relationship with Jade also? That rumor is going around a lot. No. Amberlynn'S Jade and I did not have that kind of a relationship.
Not a romantic one.
I did date a girl named Jade. From like February to like mid-April. Do you know how much she makes a month on YouTube?
Damn, okay.
I have absolutely no idea. And quite frankly, I don't really want to know.
All right.
What's the worst thing Al has done to you? Well, between the emotional whiplash and the constant gaslighting and the not caring about my wants or my needs or my thoughts or my opinions, I don't know. Do I have to choose?
The sound effects are too much. The sound effects are crazy.
Regularly send out to people on the internet that she's never met. Is she smart enough to at least cut her face out? Yes. And no. Did Jade and Amber really have a mutual breakup?
I just know. I am terrified because I've seen way too much of Chantal Foodie Beauty on my Twitter timeline. And I just fear the day that Amberlynn becomes a part of that too. Like, I really just fear the day that those things start coming across my timeline. I just don't want to see them. Everybody keep them to yourself. If she sent them to you, keep them to yourself.
Or did Jade initiate the whole thing? Personally, I just think Jade was fed up with everything and was like, I don't really care about the narrative that you tell your audience. I just want to get the out of here.
Oh.
What did you mean by Tommy was rough with her? Like, just the way that she, like, grabbed on her. Like, when Emily/Tommy was in Oklahoma, they would FaceTime me, and I don't know, I just didn't like the way that she grabbed on Amber, especially when they were drinking. Like, it just felt very icky to me, and yeah, I don't know.
I will say, I do think it's a little bit different for her to be discussing, like, things she witnessed with Tommy currently, as opposed to, like, her talking about Amberlynn's previous relationships and, like, things that happened between them. If only because, like, it seems like she is sharing now because she is concerned about, like, Amberlynn being in this relationship with Tommy, whereas the other relationships are, like, already over, and I think that the people that were a part of those relationships should be able to tell those stories themselves, if that makes sense. I mean, it still feels weird to me for Alexis to be coming on the internet and, like, putting it on blast like that, but I at least now understand, like, when it comes to Tommy, where it's coming from, you know? Like, she's currently, in this moment, concerned about Amberlynn's well-being.
Like, even Amber looked uncomfortable during some of the interactions between them. Are you considering doing vlogs on YouTube now? Well, I will say my life is significantly more exciting than Amberlynn's.
Prove it.
But, I don't know.
Prove it.
I'm trying to navigate through this, like, social media thing, and I don't know. We'll see.
Well, prove it. I would love for you to prove that your life is more exciting than Amberlynn's. I honestly, I mean, my prediction, if she did try to upload some vlog stuff, that it just simply will probably never perform as well as, like, a video like this is going to do. And that's just because, like, when other folks, maybe outside of, like, Beck had great response to posting vlogs and things like that, but, like, when Destiny came out and tried to post tea, the tea did really well view-wise, and then the non-tea content didn't. I'm thinking about, like, Rafe at one point, you know, like, came out talking about Amberlynn, but then when Rafe, like, posted videos about anything else, nobody really cared. So I would be interested to see what would come from an Alexis YouTube channel after the dust settles from this. Because also the other thing is old Brittany has a channel and has been like threatening to also post something for like the past few days. She literally just posted again that she was coming out with something. And I think people are already over Britney. Like, don't even care. Like, wouldn't even care if Britney came out. I'm gonna watch. If she does post something, I'll watch it. But like, I just think that's the nature of the beast. Like, unfortunately, I think like people only want like the tea from these side characters and they're not necessarily interested in learning about their personal lives.
I would love to hear your guys' opinion on it. But this is where I'm going to make my closing statement.
All right.
And
make it.
If you guys sat through all 20 minutes of this,
I
did. You're a rock star.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Oh. She said, I'm going to make my closing statement. I thought she had something more to say, but then she's like, okay, bye. All right, see ya. See ya, Alexis. I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts about that? I think a lot of it, like, is probably, you know, true. A lot of that was also just, like, her opinion on things, which I think is fine. She can, like, come on here and talk about her opinion about stuff. But I do think some of it would be better backed up with some kind of evidence, and I just don't know. Like, if she heard about these things or saw these things via FaceTime, like, that's kind of hard to provide evidence of. So I guess we'll just see where it goes. I'm curious to see if Amberlynn says or does anything in response to this. Do you think she's gonna go live again tonight and rage about it? I don't know. Well, I wouldn't necessarily call anything Amberlynn does a rage, but do you think she's gonna go on live and cry about it? Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to see. Time will tell. But that's all I have for you today. If you enjoyed today's video and you're brand new here, make sure to subscribe down below and hit the bell button so you get a notification every single time I post a new video. Leave me a comment, hit like, click share, and follow me on all my social media. I had so much fun today. I hope you did too, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye!